Hello, I'm the FanFic. Okay, you. Sorry, buddy, but I do not trust you enough to read this fanfic. Okay, let's take that off. That. I'll take that, thank you very much. Okay, let's move you this way. That way I'm not hitting with the chair. Nothing personal, I just don't trust you. Don't leave home without it, especially if you're living with a Looney Tune. Hello, I am the temporary FanFic Critic. I temporarily read it and you temporarily listen to me. You know who I am, I'm Susan. She's the FanFic Critic, but she won't be reading today's fanfic for one reason only. And you're about to find out that reason. Today's fanfic is called Goten Interrupted by XXCuriousDBZ. That's right, this is a Dragon Ball Z fanfiction. It's rated M, it's in English, it's romance, it's Goku and Goten, has 10 reviews. That's right, this fanfic contains incest. So, I am hoping that you all understand why I'm not having her read today's fanfic. Because I believe the last time she read a Dragon Ball Z fanfic involving incest, something happened to her that wasn't exactly very nice. Yeah, so I don't want to risk it. Especially seeing a couple episodes ago she committed suicide and I wasn't very happy when I came home to find her dead. Gave me a bloody heart attack, she did. Thank God for Namek Dragon Balls. So, let's read. I do not own Dragon Ball Z or its characters. They are owned by Akira Toriyama and Funimation. I read it like that because not only is it in all caps, but it's bold. Goten had reached the age of 15, where boys start to notice girls, where you start to get those feelings in the pit of your stomach, and when you start to touch yourself. Goten had a problem though. He shared a bedroom with Geeky and suddenly much happier with himself, Gohan. It had been a few months since he had crawled up into a ball and cried like a baby, and Goten was glad. Glad that his brother was happy. Glad that his brother was moving on with his life. Glad that soon his brother may be out of his bedroom and into his own house. Goten knew he was being harsh, but he hated touching himself in the shower. Sure, you got the same feeling at the end, but the cum just runs away before you get the chance to hold it, feel it, taste it. Ew, he couldn't. He wouldn't. Maybe. Gohan's happiness was a result of his escapades with his father. Even since that day. Wait. Even since that day? Don't you mean ever since that day? Yes, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Ever since that day when Gohan had caught him masturbating, they had been going at it almost every day before work and occasionally after work. It was even better that Goten didn't know. It made it a bit more hot and naughty. The room was dark. Goten lay under the sheets with his brother across the other side of the room, sleeping, or so he thought. Goten had a raging hard-on that just wouldn't go away. His penis stuck straight up, longer, in parentheses, much longer than Trunks, and proud through his boxer shorts. I didn't know that a penis could be proud. It's just a body part. I guess my hand is proud that it's a good hand. He willed it to go down, but he hadn't masturbated in 5 days, and now he was thinking about it, it definitely wasn't going down. You could always try a cold shower. Goten looked over to Gohan. His breathing was steady. He wasn't moving much. Okay, and here we go. Is it supposed to be like Goten's thoughts here? Goten threw himself under the sheets and pulled down his boxer shorts, and his penis bounced out, pre-cum dripping from the head as it ached to be touched, caressed, held. Goten wrapped his hand around it and slowly began to pull back the full skin. He let out a gasp. It had been so long. It felt so good. A moan escaped his lips, but he couldn't stop now. Gohan stirred. Goten didn't notice. Gohan turned over and opened his eyes to see the sheets moving and to hear the heavy breathing of his younger brother. He crossed the room, his cock rock solid, creating a tent in his shorts and a wet patch where... would you kindly take a look at this word, please? I think they mean to say W-H-E-R-E, because this version of wear is when you wear clothes. Let's continue. Where the tip of the head leaked a small amount of his love juice. Well, that's an interesting term for semen. Gohan flung back the sheets, and there was Goten, head thrown back, biting his lips and pumping his cock. His eyes opened in alarm as he saw his older brother staring at him. Gohan, I'm so sorry. Gohan shushed him, sorry. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for. Everyone does it, Goten. Gohan smiled sweetly, his voice soft and caring. Here, let me help you. Gohan got down onto his knees by the side of the bed. Goten froze. Gohan held onto Goten's cock with one hand as he slowly drew his mouth closer to it. Gohan let his tongue come out, licking and teasing the head of his brother's 15-year-old cock. Okay, first of all, there should be an apostrophe S for brothers, and secondly, why are you saying his 15-year-old cock? You already stated in the beginning of the story that Goten is supposed to be 15 years old, so it makes sense that his cock would also be 15 years old. So you don't need to state it again, you honestly don't. Let's continue. He then proceeded to go down on him, wrapping his lips around the head as he slipped up Goten's pre-cum. Goten was in heaven. Never before had he felt so alive, so free, so turned on. It was at that moment that both of the boys became shocked as the door violently swung open to reveal Goku in all his naked glory. His cock glistened in the moonlight, larger than both of his children. He licked his lips. Shouldn't say his cock is bigger than his children's cocks, because if you say his cock is bigger than his children, you're implying to me that his cock is the size of a adult male or a teenager. That would be very hard to walk around with a cock that big, I would imagine. I've wanted this for so long. Goku's voice was husky and dominant as he walked forward. Gohan got off Goten, and Goten sat up, unsure of what to think or feel this particular moment, but sure that he wanted to carry on. Goten had read about this in magazines, where boys play with each other in a sexual way, sucking cock and having penis up their asses. Shouldn't say having a penis up their asses. And if you're saying their asses, are you talking about them having multiple asses? I didn't know that was possible. Well, maybe in the movie Caligula it's possible. Goten's love muscle had never been so hard. Again, interesting terminology for the penis. Goten stood, taken over by his horniness and his wanting. He leapt on his father, their naked bodies touching as their mouths connected in a long and wet kiss. Goten pulled away. "I want you to fuck me, Dad." Goku was taken aback, but Goten didn't need an answer. He could feel his father's cock pressing against him. Goku exchanged smiles with Gohan, and then Goten, "Get on the bed." Gohan swiftly slid over to his father and put his mouth around the hard, viney cock that stood between his legs, making sure it was wet enough to get into Goten. Goku rubbed Gohan's head affectionately, lovingly. Goten got onto the floor on all fours. Waiting for the fun to begin, Goku immediately got to it. He positioned the tip of his cock at Goten's butthole, the heat making Goten quiver, the sight making Gohan nearly come on the spot. In one swift motion, Goku threw himself forward, impaling his youngest son on his dynamite cock, who let out a howl as he was ripped in two by the gigantic object that had been pushed into him. Goku waited for his son's asshole to adjust to his size before he started to slowly ease in and out of Goten's virgin butt, driving Goten wild with pleasure as Goku hit his prostate on every entry. Gohan could stand it no longer. Shouldn't say Gohan couldn't stand it no longer. He moved to the front, where Goten's face was twisting at the size of the cock in his ass. Gohan took hold of Goten's head, running his hands through the jet-black hair, and pushed his cock forward towards Goten's mouth. Goten obliged, opening his mouth as much as he could and swallowing Gohan's cock whole, his gag reflex virtually non-existent. Gohan threw his head back as Goten expertly licked and sucked on his cock. Okay, if he's supposed to be a virgin, how would he know how... Forget I said anything. His tongue dipping under his foreskin and brushing over the head of his cock of his rock-solid pole. Goku started to thrust harder, his breath becoming short, but he had to go on. He pushed that feeling down and continued to fuck that tight hole as he watched Goten suck Gohan off. Moans started to escape from Goku's mouth, screaming out at the top of his lungs. "Oh yeah, Goten!" Goten couldn't return the shouts as he continued to lick and suck Gohan's cock. Gohan was screaming for more as Goten's 15-year-old tongue darted around his cock. Again, you don't need to state that it's 15 years old. We all assume that it is, seeing Goten himself is 15 years old. That wouldn't make any sense if you're 15 and your tongue is 20. It wouldn't make any sense at all. Hitting every nerve that made him shudder. It was all he could take. Gohan released with a loud yell, a powerful jet stream of cum firing out of his cock into his brother's mouth. Goten was shocked at how much there was, trying to swallow, but some of it dribbling out of his mouth and down his face, down his neck, and to the floor. Then, without warning, Goten got a familiar feeling and he screamed out, "Oh, Dad!" as he released onto the wooden floor below him. Gohan slid under his brother and started to lick his cum off the floor, keeping it in his mouth as he got back to Goten's face. He kissed Goten, opening his mouth and letting his cum run freely between them. Oh, that is nasty. Goten couldn't get over how good it was. Oh, that is just nasty. That is disgusting. Oh my God, my word. Awful. Let's continue. We only have a couple paragraphs left. Goku's breath became short again. He wouldn't be able to hold back this time. His cock swelled in Goten's asshole as he kept pumping, grunting and moaning as he let out an almighty roar. As his seed spilled out, filling Goten with his warm seed, gallons of cum continued to pump into Goten. Wait, gallons of cum? Excuse me for the visual. But I would say a man's ball sack, or at least one ball, is roughly about this size, maybe a little bigger. Now, does this look like it could hold a gallon of liquid? No. In fact, this is 6.1 fluid ounces. So I highly doubt a man's ball sack can contain gallons upon gallons of semen. It just can't. So this is very inaccurate. I'm sorry, but it is. Let's continue. Gallons of cum continued to pump into Goten as some dripped out of his asshole. Goku withdrew, falling forwards and on to his sons, completely shattered. Gohan and Goten did not struggle beneath their father. They simply lay there and enjoyed the warmth and closeness that they now felt. They truly were one. And that's how the story ends. My word, that was awful. That was just awful. I mean, first of all, it's incest. It's major incest, and it's just disgusting. And secondly, it's completely inaccurate when it comes to sex. Well, I mean, with the gallons of cum, that is. And then, like, the weird terminology the author used. Like, the love juice and then the love muscle. Just say semen and penis. I know you're trying to be creative by calling it different names, but it just comes across as stupid. So, I hope you guys can understand why I decided to read the fanfic today, not the FanFic Critic. I did not want to risk her attempting to kill herself again because of this fanfic. And knowing her, she probably would. Seeing the last time she read an incestuous Dragon Ball Z fanfic, she poked her eyes out. And yes, we do have the Namek Dragon Balls now. But, you know, it takes them 80 days to recharge, and then you have to fly all over the world to find them again. And it gets very tedious. And besides, I don't want to risk there being a deal where you can only be brought back a certain amount of times and then find out, oh, guess what? She's already been brought back too many times, so she can't come back anymore. Not going to risk it, thank you very much. Well, she's the fanfic critic. She reads it, you listen. I'm Susan, and I should, probably get her in a more comfortable position. This is getting very tedious. Come on. There we go. Easy does it.